is imposed on us. In 2024, and this is important to remind fellow Ugandans, that our public debt grew to over 97 trillion. Now this is almost double our national budget. 55 trillion of this money is borrowed from those countries that Museveni calls foreign meddlers. Now, you all can tell the hypocrisy. When he is borrowing money in your name, the money that you are going to pay, he calls them development partners. But when they call him out on abuse of human rights and democracy, he calls them foreign meddlers. That's the hypocrite that rules over us and shows more need and more urgency to get rid of him as soon as we can. We've again seen rising abductions in Uganda. Very unfortunately, we've exported the same nasty habit to even our neighbors in Kenya. We've seen so many abductions. Many of our people are still missing. But the most recent is the abduction of Dr. Kiza Besigye from Kenya. Dr. Besigye and Haji Obed Zitare from Kenya. They were illegally abducted from Kenya, brought to Uganda against international law, without any, extradition, legal extradition arrangements. They were brought to Kenya and court-martialed. Of course, we continue to condemn that, but condemning it is not enough. We must fight to practically put it to an end. Because now, we, the people that used to export positivity, we are exporting abduction. And the cancer is slowly catching in Kenya. We continue to see people in prison because of their conscience. So many political prisoners are still in prison. The nation was shocked to see 19 of our comrades coerced into accepting crimes they did not commit. Among these is the renowned Olivia Rutaya, who was coerced and told that she either had to plead guilty or die in prison. Because she saw no hope of getting justice, she was cornered to plead guilty. And this includes 18 others, to make a total of 19. However, there are those that refused, and these include Kalanzi, Sheriff, they include Machete Yasin, they include political prisoners that are kept in prison because of bogus claims. People like Bobi Young, people like Muyodi, and many others. We stand with them and we call for their freedom. I must also mention the selective prosecution. We've seen so many people paid by the regime to hurl obscenities to regime critics. Some of them have even been rewarded by sounding government positions just because they are abusive, they are insulting, and they use nasty, obscene words against the opponents of the regime. But they've been rewarded. But there's a young man called Musuza Juma, also known as Madubala. He continues to rot in prison for speaking or for being regarded abusive to the regime. We condemn that. We call for equality. We call for justice for everybody. But most importantly, we call for the joining of hands to remove this immoral and oppressive regime of General Museveni and his fellow thieves. We must save our country. Otherwise, justice won't be served. Those that do wrong will be rewarded, and those that do right will be punished. This year, 2024, we saw Uganda being struck off the countries that are beneficiaries of the African Growth Opportunities Act, the USA AGOA. Uganda was scrapped off, and this was prompted by human rights abuses, by disregard of the rule of law, and all the wrong things that the regime do. What does this mean? This means that more than 6,000 of Uganda's products now can no longer have duty-free access to the world's biggest economy. Yes, it's a loss to Uganda, but it's also a blow to this regime as we seek to discredit it further. You saw Museveni sending his son-in-law to go and plead, but it was unsuccessful. We continue to advise him that the best way to plead is to do the right thing, because we live in a global community and we should be judged by similar standards, especially in regards to humanity and the rule of law. This year, our common people continue to suffer, and I'll talk about coffee. Coffee this year was dealt a blow. The regime ignored nationwide protests from farmers and went ahead and scrapped the Uganda Coffee Development Authority and handed its operations to the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, as a result, we all know that over 12 million coffee growers in Uganda are at risk, knowing the incompetencies of the ministries run by Museveni's, henchmen, like you have seen in the Ministry of Agriculture. Coffee, we should note that earned Uganda 4.2 billion the financial year that ended in June this year. Now that's a lot of money. And as we have seen in the recent past, that wherever there is money, Museveni will bring his people and try to take over that. So that with gold, it's only his family that deals in gold. So that with cotton, so that with vanilla. And now it is with coffee. You've already seen his family and close allies trying to, monopolize coffee. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, because Museveni wants to control the income of Ugandans, wherever there is money, he wants to control it. Now he is seeking to control coffee at the cost of the citizens. But does he care? Of course he doesn't. That is not all, as if that is not annoying enough. This year, we saw General Museveni appoint his son, the Chief of Defense Forces, the commander of the national military. Now, this, to all that ever doubted, this finally removed doubt, any kind of doubt about Museveni's intention to turn Uganda into a presidential monarch. I've said it many times to fellow Ugandans that if you want to know what is in the mind of the Museveni family, just open Twitter or X and read the tweets of his son. The CDF, not only are they immature or thoughtless, but they are extremely tribalistic. He seems to speak for the Museveni family and informing all and sundry that it's only his tribesmen and women that are full human beings. That we condemn, but like I said, we don't only condemn it, we call upon all Ugandans to stand against this nonsense, because Uganda belongs to all Ugandans, and all Ugandans are equal before and under the law, regardless of their tribe or ethnicity, regardless of their religion, regardless of their gender, regardless of their background. So we condemn the tribalistic tendencies of the Museveni regime as exposed through his son's drunk tweeting. This year, we saw Justice Chisache, Justice of the Supreme Court, run into exile.